Hi YouTube. Let me just set the phone still. My name's Derek and this is my first YouTube video. It's about the mk3 Ford Focus clutch. A few months ago now, back in April, my clutch in this car developed a little bit of a problem. When I was changing gears, I would press the clutch, change the gear, and then when I was letting the clutch out, it wouldn't return all the way. Anyway, over the course of maybe a couple of days, the problem got worse and worse and worse, and then eventually the clutch was barely moving at all. You had to pull it all the way into the home position with your hand, or if you could get your foot under it. It was pretty much stuck to the floor, so as I say, you would have to use your hand unless you could get your foot under it. If you could get your foot under it, you'd be able to pull it back up, but even then, as soon as you touched it again, it would just fall all the way to the floor. It was a bit of a nightmare. Anyway, I had to get that fixed. That involved replacing the whole entire clutch assembly under the bonnet. And the garage that I took the car to said that the problem was the slave cylinder, which I believe is the thing that moves the clutch. The clutch discs and whatever were fine, but the slave cylinder was what was causing the problem. So since this isn't at the gearbox, they changed everything whilst they were there. I got the car back and the clutch was working normally again. However, felt just the same as it did before there was any problems, and the clutches never felt great in this car. It was always kind of nice and soft to press, but when you were releasing the clutch, it was just odd. It was really odd. It would sort of make springy sounds, and it wasn't a nice smooth, when you were letting it out, it was almost like it would come out and then it would sort of kick back a little on your foot. It was awful. Anyway, apparently the spring which is on the pedal gives you this odd clutch feeling, so, and removing the spring can lead to other clutch problems, such as problems with the slave cylinder. So I've been wondering if maybe the problems with my clutch were related to the actual original spring, because I've never removed that. That's always been in the car. But yeah, I still developed this fault, so I've been adamant that I'm going to change this spring, because I don't want the clutch slave cylinder to fail again, because that means that my clutch is gone. You know, I can't use the car if that's not working. So I've been desperate to get a new spring, and I've found some YouTube videos online which have guided me towards Steeda. They have made a replacement spring for the Focus mk3's STs and RSs. I don't have an ST or an RS, I have a simple ZTEC, but I still have the silly spring on the pedal. So yeah, I went ahead and ordered that from Steeda probably about 3 weeks ago now. I got it yesterday. It took a while to get here, and I was all excited about it getting here, so I went and put it straight on the pedal. I've used the car a couple of times today to drive down to work and back, and I've got to say, it's definitely a lot better than the last spring. My one little problem is that there's a little bit of play at the top of the pedal, and instead of trying to explain that to you, I'm just going to show you. So, put the flash on, and here we have the pedals. If I sort of press the clutch ever so slightly, there's this little bit of play before you actually press it. So if I press it, I can press it normally and let it out normally. My foot comes off of it easily. I don't have to pull it up any. It returns all the way home without any problems. But I have a bad habit of not using the dead pedals, so when I've changed gear, I'll change gear and let the clutch out, and I'll rest my foot on the pedal, and that's never been a problem, because the old spring, oh, let me turn the flash off. That's never been a problem. Yeah, resting my foot on the pedal has never been a problem, because the old spring was so firm, you wouldn't be able to have any pressure on the pedal without noticing that. It wouldn't let you move the pedal without actually pressing it. So I've noticed in the videos on YouTube where people have put in this new spring that their clutches don't seem to have this play at the top of the pedal, so I'm just wondering if this is normal. Obviously I can get used to not resting my foot on the pedal because I know that you're not supposed to do that, and use the dead pedal. That's not a problem for me, and the clutch does feel a lot better with this new spring, so I'm reluctant to go putting the old one back in, but I don't know if that play is anything to worry about. I doubt it because it's only a spring, but yeah. So anyway, some advice, thumbs up would be great, thanks.